Welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Ukraine's capital has hosted the 7th International Media Forum Kyiv Media Week. The event has already become a good tradition for Ukraine, attracting more and more participants every year. To talk about the highlights of this year's Kyiv Media Forum, we're joined in the studio today by one of its co-organizers, Alla Prelovskaya. Hello, and thank you for coming.
Hello, thank you for inviting.
So, Kyiv Media Forum. This year, it's the 7th event, and it attracts more and more participants. In terms of numbers of participants, could you give us some numbers? How many people actually showed up this year? And is the number bigger of the previous?
Well, I cannot tell you about the number of people. I guess during the week it was like about 1,000, but we are growing in terms of number of countries participating.
Which is this year?
So we had our traditional partners, like all of European countries, and
all of them. 28?
Most of them, okay. Yes. The most of them who are producing and distributing the TV content or film content. And we have focused this year on international co-production. And we had some separate special event devoted to the co-production of Ukraine and other countries, and we had roundtables with China, with Moldova, with Korea, and we hope that it will start to work. What are the results of those roundtables with China and Korea and Moldova? Any documents signed, any contracts? Yes, there were memorandums with all the countries about the cooperation, memorandum about like intention of cooperation were signed from both sides. And we are glad that all of the countries were supported by the officials from both countries' sides, officials and the industry as well, and representatives of the embassies came to the forum. Wow. So it's for us it's like recognition, right? A big deal, right? Yes, and it means that we are, as Ukraine, as production country and as a media country, we are interesting for other countries. That's what I wanted to ask you. The fact itself that a lot of countries, not only European ones, but other countries, are interested in collaborating with Ukraine in the production process of movie content or media content. Does that mean that Ukraine is actually on good terms? Well, it is probably a little bit too early to say that all of them like eager to cooperate, but we did the big steps during last years, like last 2 years in this term, and because previously our foreign guests came to sell us their content, and now they're coming to look at your content. And now we talk about cooperation and co-production, and we also already had this year 2 cases of cooperation in film. This is the film The Line and the other film Easy. So the first one is made with in co-production of Ukraine and Slovakia, and the other one with Italy. And in Slovakia, it is the film who made the biggest box office ever in Slovakia, because it is very, very popular now, and it comes in Ukrainian theaters in the nearest days. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Let's be sure to go and check it out. Right. So we hope it will work. Okay. Any guests, any high-profile guests you had during the Kyiv Media Forum this year? As personalities, I can tell that yes, we were lucky, and probably we did our work well. But we are glad that we had really very interesting guests this year. So it was Jonathan Young from HBO Europe. Oh. So, yes, so he presented, he made the presentation at the event, which was devoted to series production. So he said what the HBO Europe does in Europe and why. And HBO is
big deal. It's a huge company.
Yes, right, because Game of Thrones, with like as our moderator, Ivan Bukreev.
Sex and the City,
yeah,
right?
He says, well, now you here you had the audience, all of them did see the Game of Thrones. It's like, we know it, so it's interesting. And we had the producer from Italy, Cristiano Bartone, who did the European-China co-production, like the first European-China co-production film. It was made in Italy, and the film is called Coffee. So he said what is China market actually, because nobody, well, we think we know a lot about China, but in fact it's like another world, other figures, other mentality, other thinking, and it's very interesting because the market is huge. It's much bigger than the whole Europe, and it's second place by now, second place in the world after Hollywood and USA, but it's still growing. So China is interesting for everybody. Another speaker was interesting. We invited Jean-Yves Rubin, who is the producer of Belgian and French co-production. The film took the prize at the Cannes Film Festival, called The Row, and then, well, many people.
A lot of people.
Because we had a very interesting, outstanding persons in the industry of TV media and format production at the Format Show, which is another conference. Yeah. Generally, we had like 14 events during the week.
14 events in 7 days.
Not 7, in fact, only 4 days. So
that's
preparation. Many people. We managed to actually do the whole program, and in all spheres we covered digital, covered TV, film business. We had that roundtables about international co-production. We talked about piracy. We talked about influence and responsibility of actually TV and use and before the people.
Really interesting, actually.
Actually, we took probably almost all the topics of the media. And what is important for us as organizers, and because media resources management works like more than 10 years on the market, and we talk not only with the industry but also with authorities. And our forum, the 10th year, and it's probably the most important for us is to make this cooperation and good conversation between industry and authority. Yeah. And authorities listening to the industry, and they're flexible.
How much of a support does the industry get from the authorities these days?
We change legislation. We help each other to get these international treaties, as we work with Canada, with China, with Korea about international cooperation. With some countries it doesn't work if only industry talks to industry. China, you know, it's a serious country. Yes, it should be at official level first. Yes, and then if official level is.
So would you say that Ukrainian authorities are helpful in the process?
We work very good with the head of Ukrainian Agency on Cinematography, Filip Ilyenko. He's very helpful. He's a cinematographer himself, so he understands the market. We work with many deputies, and first of all, our main achievement probably the last year was the new law was signed. The new law was adopted, correct to say, about the cinematography and support of the cinematography. Why this law is important? Why? In all of the countries of our neighbors, there is a legislation which includes incentives or help for the filmmakers that makes shooting in their country easier, yes, and more attractive for foreigners. For example, it means cash rebates or tax rebates or something else, some other incentives, or tax vacations, so to say.
We didn't have that before.
We didn't.
And now we do.
now we do. It didn't start here to work yet because there, you know, many other legislation acts should be signed and procedure should be worked.
It's a big step forward.
Yes, it is. Yes, because now we are competitive.
Yes. Overall, how would you evaluate the situation Ukrainian film industry is in right now?
We should say that it is growing. It's probably too early to say that it's stable and huge and everybody, all our neighbors are eagering to cooperate. But anyway, we have already success stories. We have some films that take very good box office in our cinemas, because it was the problem previously. Really, the private cinemas wouldn't like to screen even your film if they feel it wouldn't be interesting for the people, for the audience. So
that's the problem, actually.
Yeah, it is much more safer to take the Hollywood blockbuster and you get the audience.
Right.
Yeah. It's just business.
So the industry is developing.
Right. Yes.
Hopefully it will continue developing, and Ukrainian film industry will become even more and more attractive to other filmmakers from the other countries.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for such an interesting conversation.
Thank you.
That was Alla Prelovskaya. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.